Okay, moving on to leadership. Now, I'm not going to go through these things, but hopefully you'll understand that these are the characteristics of an effective leader. Empathetic, good experience, good perceptual skills, good decision maker, charismatic, visionary, ambitious, good communication skills, self-confident and determined. All those words you should be familiar with, so I'm not going to spend too long on that. So the way we can select our leaders, there is two ways that we can have our leader. We can have an emergent leader. They're already a member of the group. They can assume a role of a leader or be voted in by other group members. For example, a team captain who's been voted in by the rest of the team. So they've come up through the ranks. That's a way of thinking about it. They have good knowledge of others and team members and can work and communicate with each individual in the most effective way. They should already have the respect of the team, who trust their decisions and are motivated to work hard for them. So think about these things here, that the team members, he would always have good knowledge. If he's taken over a team, would have good knowledge of his team, would be able to communicate individually with these people. So it's quite a nice place to be in. Now, the couple of downsides to having an emergent leader is team members may struggle to adjust the new status of the leader. There may be a perceived favoritism, e.g. team selection. So if a captain has come through the ranks and it's been a bit of a joke or a bit of a Jack the Lad, if you like, the team members might struggle to adjust to this new lead that's come in, who's now trying to be all serious, and it might be ineffective. It may be more difficult for the leader to make changes in the way the team play, as the leader has been involved in the previous system. So the leader might not be able to change things because they've only known that way. The other way we can get a leader is called a prescribed leader, or appointed from outside of the group, an externally appointed football manager. So if you think about the Premier League football managers, generally they always go for a prescribed leader. Man United tried an emergent leader, in Ryan Giggs, who came up through the academy, played for Manchester United and became the manager. Again, didn't do very well. Then they bring in these prescribed leaders. So you look at, they've had a few now. I can't even think who they are. But they've come in from the outside and they've been appointed from outside of the group. They can more easily make changes to the system's tactics if the team expects this. So when someone new comes in, they might change the systems and tactics, and the players expect that. The team members may feel they have a clean slate with the prescribed leader and so work harder for them. They may display a positive attitude. So if a person has been badly behaved in previous managerial roles and a new one comes in, it's a good chance for them to say, right, let's start again. So the downside to having a prescribed leader, they have no experience with the team members and may not manage individuals in the most effective way. So it does take time to get to know your team, and you might try and lead somebody in the wrong way and has a bad effect. And building relationships and earning respect may take time. So have a look at the two ways that we can become a leader: emergent and prescribed. So the leadership styles that we need to know for A Level PE are the three types here: autocratic, democratic and laissez-faire. So autocratic, focused on the task, makes all the decisions, goal orientated and does not delegate any responsibility. These are the reason why it's good. The style is good to use when the group is large with limited time. For example, rugby training session, the task is potentially dangerous, or rock climbing or trampolining. So you've got to think of a time when things could be dangerous and you've really got to get them in order. So also think about if you're walking along the side of a cliff and you're the group leader walking with some children, you would say, follow my lead, we're doing this, do exactly what I say. The goal orientated is we're going to get to the other side and we're going to be safe. Okay, we do not delegate responsibility. Wouldn't say to one of the boys, right, would you like to lead now, because it is too dangerous. So autocratic is great for those types of environment. Again, rugby training sessions, again, it could be potentially dangerous. You need to do as you're told. So democratic, focused on developing the relationships within the group. You share decisions, prioritises group cohesion and shared ownership of the group, delegates responsibility. This is a good style to use when the group is small and there are very few constraints. Team members require personal support. For example, putting together and training a new rowing form. Now, if you use my example of walking along the side of a cliff with a group, think about what situation and what leadership style would suit it best. You wouldn't say to a group, right, can we now share some decisions, or we're going to do this or do that. You wouldn't use democratic. It is more, let's get it done. All right, so think about those two. And the last is laissez-faire. It means let's do. The leader stands aside, the group makes all the decisions, and leaders not take responsibility. This style is good to use when the group is very experienced and motivated. With less experienced or able groups, this style is not effective. A weak leader may drift into this style if they lose control of the group. So it could be a bad thing as well. So just take a look at that and think about any teams that you're involved in, either at work or even in your sporting team, probably better, and think about what type of style your leader uses and are they using the right one. So I know from my teaching experience, if I was teaching a Year 7 rugby lesson, I'd be more autocratic. However, if I was teaching my Year 13 A-level group, you might want to stand aside a little bit more and try and make them a little bit more independent and let them try and learn in a way that suits them best. So think about your different situations in your life and think what your leader uses or what you think is most effective. So we're looking at theories of leadership, and these are very similar to personalities. And again, we hear about the trait, perspective, social learning, and the interactionist approach. Now, you should know them from personalities, but in a leadership context, okay, so we've got the trait perspective. Effective leadership behaviour is innate, genetically programmed. So, for example, ambition and empathy may be inherited, which enables effective leadership. So this is saying that leaders are born. You don't learn being a leader, it's just in your blood. Social learning theory. Effective leadership behaviour is learned from the environment through imitation of others and reinforcement from others. Again, you're copying other people. This builds your leadership skills. So it's saying you become a leader by watching others. And the interactions approach, effective leadership is determined by a combination of inherited traits and experiences learned from the environment. For example, a person may inherit determination, then observe and imitate the use of this trait to learn effective leadership. So you shouldn't cause you any problems really about where our leadership comes from. Okay, it's up to you what you think it is, but make sure you could maybe argue which one you think is more relevant. Okay, then we're looking at Chelandora's multi-dimensional model for sports leadership, and I'll talk you through each bit in turn. So the first bit we're going to look at is the 3 factors that influence a style of leadership. So these are things that we need to know about what style of leadership we should be using and what can influence that. So the first one is situational characteristics. It's the environment conditions. For example, is it a football match or rock climbing? The number of people in the group, the time constraints, and maybe the strengths of the opposition. The leader characteristics. So this talks about the personality, the skill level, the experience of the leader. The leader may have a preferred style of leadership. And then the final bit is member characteristics. What is the group like? So we're given experience, gender, age, motivation, attitude, personalities. So we look across here, and these are 3 factors that impact on the leadership behaviour or the leadership style. So the required behaviour, what style of leadership is needed for the task. The situation and the member characteristics dictate the appropriate style of leadership. Then we have the actual behaviour. What does the leader actually choose to do? The behaviour the leader displays as a result of the situation and the member characteristics. So again, it's looking at the actual behaviour determines situational characteristics and the member characteristics are feeding into that. And then we've got the final bit, that the preferred behaviour, the style the members would choose. So what would they choose in that particular situation? Then we look across at the final bit, which is the performance and the satisfaction of the leadership, the overall performance of the members and the leader and the levels of satisfaction. So just have a look here. There's a few more arrows that we could add in. So first of all, the situational characteristics. Okay, we've already got the arrow going into here. So the required behaviour. So the leadership style that we're going to choose is all based around the group size, time availability, the type of activity, but also the member characteristics as well is going to feed up to the required behaviour that we're going to use. And again, looking at the preferred behaviour, again the group, what they would choose, again can be linked to situational characteristics. They will know what type of leadership they would like in the situation that they are in, and also they would know about the member characteristics. So all this gets thrown into actual behaviour, and then we get it thrown out about the performance and the satisfaction. So again, it's looking at leadership is the style that we choose must meet these factors for it to be effective. So I don't just walk into any old class or any old training session and say I'm going to be autocratic, I'm going to be democratic. It needs to make sure that the style that the leader is using is looking at the situational characteristics, their own characteristics, and their members' characteristics. And remember, it's a two-way thing. It's a preferred behaviour as well by the people that is in that group that they would choose. So just take a second, as always, just to have a read over that, and hopefully you've got that. Now, the last bit on Challendora's multi-dimensional model of sports leadership. So effective leadership based on group performance and the satisfaction depends on how much the required, preferred and actual leadership behaviours coincide or are the same. So the table below shows how the degree of congruence between actual leader behaviour and required preferred behaviour impacts on performance and satisfaction. So here we've got the actual behaviour, the style that the leader chooses to use, and then the bits across the top, required behaviour, the style that should be used by the leader in the situation, the preferred behaviour, the style that members would choose, and then the outcome, which is looking at the effectiveness of the leader. So the actual behaviour, so the style the leader should choose. Now if it's the same, for example, the group is large and the leader uses autocratic. So it's looking at the situation. It is a large group, so he's chose to use autocratic. So if it's the same, which is good, then the preferred behaviour, the style that the members would choose, it's not the same. The members are experienced women, but the leader uses an autocratic style. Now they're not the same. They would prefer if they used a democratic, but it's used autocratic. And if they're not the same, the effectiveness of the performance occurs, but the satisfaction is low. So it's saying that the group's going to be effective because it's a large group and is used autocratic. However, the satisfaction is low because the group would have chosen a different type of leadership style because they are experienced and they don't need an autocratic style. So overall, you can have an effective group, but the satisfaction is going to be low. So again, we'll look here, the actual behaviour. So it's not the same, which is the style that the leader should be using. Okay, so it's again using the large group and they're using democratic. Okay, it's not the same, it's not chosen the right type of leadership for the situation, but the group would choose that. The satisfaction is high, but the performance is not effective. And again, down here, what we're trying to get is same in both. So he's chosen, or he or she has chosen the right type of leadership for the situation. It's the same, which is good. It's also what the group would have chosen, which is good. And the satisfaction is high and the performance is effective. There is full congruence, and so effective leadership is taking place. So take your time, think about that, and hopefully that has made things a little bit clearer for you. All right, thank you.